Hello and welcome to my virtual office. Today we are going to go through a fun topic all about the elite method on how to build algorithms that hardwire high performance, health, cognitive speed, and professional longevity. So stick around if you want to geek out with me and have a conversation like that. I'm going to go through a process where I'll share my screen with you and go over some of my favorite topics to go through at this time of year. This will be relevant for you if you would like to get more fit, have more focus at work, and overall operate at a higher level of performance than you have currently been operating at, or even upgrade your level of performance to a level that you desire. All right, I'm Annick Lewis. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you love this kind of content, whether you are an athlete, an executive, a housewife, or an intellectual. All right, so I'm going to share my screen now. And I'm going to take you over to my website, www.mygreenbalance.com. All right, so welcome. Athletes don't just train their bodies, they train their brains. Professionals performing at high levels, founders, executives, surgeons, pilots, creators, even musicians and artists require the same cognitive conditioning. In a world shaped by digital influence, the next frontier of peak performance is designing algorithms that automate discipline. Okay? For creatives, for you, if you're not a creative, if you would like to understand the creative mind, for example, how it works, let's say that a creative mind does a lot of laying around and laying in nature, maybe scrolling, doing some research for a long period of time before an idea pops into their brain and then they take action. Some people may think it is a different style of operating, but it is usually how the creative brain works and comes up with original ideas. Many people think, oh, well, if you're scrolling on your phone, it's unproductive. And it all depends on what is in your algorithm. For example, you can have an algorithm that is focused a lot on education. Edutainment is also the word of, I guess, the next decade. And you can learn a lot from what you scroll depending on how your feed is set up. I'm not saying there's a total opposite way of complete unproductivity and disorientation depending on what is in each person's algorithm, right? So I want you to see the contrast to understand more clearly how this conversation will go. Okay? All right. So in a world shaped by digital influence, the next frontier of peak performance is designing algorithms that automate discipline. Okay. I love the word discipline because to me, freedom is discipline. Why? Why would freedom be discipline? And this is another topic that I got from Brandon Burchard, high net worth private coach. And he says discipline is freedom because if you set your schedule based on what you want to achieve and you stick to it, it looks like extreme discipline. But at the end of the day, your mind can rest because it trusts I got stuff done. I put myself in my calendar for my health, my wellness. I got my productive work done, and everything is in that schedule. And it looks super disciplined, but it's a mental freedom that it allows you to not have to ruminate on being a procrastinator, for example. Okay? And what we want to continue automating in this arena include healthy grocery lists, strategic meal prep, recovery cues, micro workout prompts, neuroplasticity drills, high-speed cognitive warm-ups, focus bursts, circadian aligned productivity. The new high-performance professional doesn't rely only on willpower. They rely on systems. I believe there is a book on systems thinking. I recommend it if you haven't read it yet. And the mindset behind it is that when all goes to chaos in your world, each human will fall back on their systems. And that is why systems are so essential for you to prioritize how your flow of life and work are going. Systems are the priority, okay? Because again, you will always fall back to your systems. And if your systems need upgrading, that is something to prioritize for the next year within your organization. It's not just on willpower because we know, as any executive knows, there is a concept called decision fatigue. If you're making high level decisions all day, there comes a time where the brain's like, I can't make any more decision. I'm at decision fatigue, whether that is what you wear in the morning, what you drink, what you eat, what paper you're signing or you're not signing, what deal says yes, what deal says no, what deal says yes, what deal says no, what lane you're taking to get home. Will you go to the grocery and get items for your house before you get home? These are all decisions running through people's minds. And by the end of the day, a lot of humans experience decision fatigue. And that is where they kind of try to zone out and watch some TV or scroll or do whatever. Each human has their own thing, right? And this is where we are trying to focus on having the ability to have steady systems so that even when your decision mindset are fatigued, there is a system and a process that works without you having to do any major thinking because the thinking has already been done in detail to build an efficient system. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So your feed, what you're feeding your mind, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, blogs, Red Note, Pinterest. I could go on. There are many, right? It's all going to depend on what you program that you wish to see regularly, who you follow, what accounts you're following, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of coaches will recommend certain accounts if you are trying to build discipline with your diet that you can follow. And with regard to your fitness as well. And what we have noticed in some of the data and metrics is that when humans are scrolling and you see someone working out, you are more likely to think about working out and want to work out if your feed is showing you a workout at 4 p.m. Right? Someone's working out, you think, oh, well, I want to be thin, so I'm definitely going to work out. And that is how the brain builds that discipline muscle using the algorithm feed strategically. Okay. So you have a mental diet the same way you have a food diet. So what you put into your body, whether you eat fish, chicken, beef, steak, pork, broccoli, carrots, rice, potatoes, processed food, fast food, fried food, steam food, whatever you consume in your diet will reflect on how your systems internally are operating. And that is the same process and example to use when applying this process to what you're feeding into your mind and brain. Okay? So this is where you can apply a concept called mindfulness. Okay? All right, so your digital environment, your algorithmic mental coach, let's build it. Why elite cognitive performance depends on algorithmic input. Your brain is shaped by exposure, okay? And as you may have heard me mention prior, by 25, your prefrontal cortex has been fully developed. That means what you put in your brain before 25 is mostly how your brain operating system will run for the rest of your life. All right. To create new neural pathways in there, you will have to work out your brain, like how you work out your biceps in the gym, through a process called neuroplasticity and neuroscience. Okay. So the digital environment becomes your nutrition coach, your mental trainer. You will hear me converse on topics like brain gym, for example. I love that concept. I really, really do. Your movement instructor. Will your body require more slow-paced walking today or high-intensity training? And each day is different. Each human body is different. Each person's movement requirements. Yes, there's a standard, but to get into your peak shape, there are different metrics required, right? Your recovery advisor, your stress manager, your mindset architect. This is how champions maintain discipline while others break down. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. All right, healthy shopping for peak brain performance. Elite performers shop for cognitive endurance, complex carbs, healthy fats, mental speed, omega-3s and polyphenols, emotional stability, magnesium, hydration, and gut health. Recovery, protein, and anti-inflammatory foods. An optimized algorithm pushes brain foods like wild blueberries, salmon, walnuts, turmeric, leafy greens, fermented foods, and dark chocolate. These foods have very high antioxidant capacity. Therefore, they have the ability to scavenge through your DNA cells and get rid of old DNA cells through a process known as oxidation, where it gets rid of oxidative stress, renewing your DNA to fight cancer, for example. So that is why these foods are so important that you prioritize brain foods with high antioxidant components. Green tea is also one of my favorites in there. Cognitive fuel, oats, quinoa, sweet potato, recovery and inflammation control, ginger, cherries, omega-rich seeds. Check seed cycling for women's health and hormones, even male's health. Check pumpkin seeds. Your algorithm becomes your high performance nutritionist. It could be, but you also want to work with a human coach to show you how to manage your algorithms. For example, you want a coach who has done the research, who can fact check components or ideas for you and give you direct feedback to recommend what could be suitable for your unique body and family circumstance, dietary patterns, habits, behaviors. Okay, so you want to work with a coach alongside the technology because there will never be a replacement. Humans crave human connection, and that from the research is always going to be true. So no technology can replace humans in certain careers because humans at the end of the day will want to communicate with humans, but use technology as a subsidiary or a tool or an experience to have side alongside a life. I hope that makes sense. Exercise algorithms for high performance neuroplasticity. So peak brain athletes don't think in terms of workouts. They think in neural activation protocols, cognitive warm-ups, movement velocity, central nervous system priming, emotional state regulation, reaction speed training. Your feed should promote 3-minute focus warm-ups. You can use some of my mindfulness training exercises on my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if any of this content lights you up and is adding value to your life. High-speed footwork drills. I also like yoga for footwork drills because it works on ankle support with those little muscles around your ankles to really work on stability for the aging populace because you want to reduce your chances of hip fracture when you're aging based on optimizing your feet and footwork drills. Because balance and stability with the whole skeletal system starts at the base with your feet. Ping pong style reactive patterns, interesting for certain social situations, irrelevant for other social situations, depending on time and place. Tennis visualization sets. These are great for performance and for practicing skill. and for practicing repetition, formation as well. Yoga breath cycles for autonomic reset, very good for the breath work. Fast twitch micro movement reps, important for longevity. Cold to warm transitions, this is good for managing the nervous system. This is mental agility training disguised as exercise. Behavior change for the elite mind. The high performance brain thrives on precision routines, habit architecture, neuro trigger stacking, decision fatigue elimination, dopamine stability strategies. Your health algorithm integrates morning routines synced into circadian peaks, dopamine regulation, low glucose meal timing for clarity. So I heard people talking about doom scrolling, right? I don't believe that doom scrolling, I think again, this is a perspective, so I'll invite you into my world, okay? So some people call it doom scrolling, right? And this is if your mindset is in the I'm going to compare everything and it's going to make me depressed and it's going to take me into this world. Or you can put it into the I'm doing research scrolling, I'm getting inspiration, I'm going to try to add this creative technique to my life. I'm going to find ways to have fun. I'm going to listen to a beat that will maybe trigger a happiness chemical in my brain to go off. And then I could listen to a recommended music through scrolling. And then I could try to make some music for creatives and get me into a flow state. So again, scrolling is a privilege, honestly. It's quite of a luxury experience because many people who are in relationships and families don't have the time to be on their phone scrolling because your humans need your energy. So when you are not giving your humans in your environment your energy, it can be seen as doom scrolling because you are taking your energy and focus into scrolling. However, if you are in a position where you don't have the responsibilities of children or a partner, you can scroll luxuriously to learn, study, get inspiration, and just enjoy your free time if you enjoy scrolling. Because let's say you want to up level your style, you will have to take time learning, feeding your brain. And I might call that educational scrolling or growth scrolling. Okay, so it just depends on your time and place because scrolling could be a very luxury experience if you have time and that's how you want to spend your time and your life to develop as a human based on, again, your algorithmic feed. So it could be that if your feed is in a doom scrolling space, you might want to reevaluate what your scroll is giving you and what you wish to see or don't see through a filtration process to optimize your scrolling experience if you want to be a scroller in your free time, you know? I can see it as being quite medicinal if you have the right content because it can trigger emotions. They say laughter is one of the best medicine, you know, so you can have your feed triggered to make you happy, or you can have your feed triggered to send you on a downward spiral. So it really is up to you on if you have the cognitive ability to organize that way, or you work with a coach to help you organize it that way. You know what I mean? Habit stacking, hydration, micro movement, reward schedule pairing, weekly reset rules, digital friction. If you schedule your device control, that might make it a little better for you. And the same way you schedule a workout is the same way you can schedule your phone time or your screen time. You want to work with your calendar. At the end of the day, the priority is how you optimize your calendar and your time. And each person, each human in this lifetime has a certain amount of time, and what you do with it in your free time is up to you, right? So it just depends how you wish to spend your time in your life, okay? But this is the concept of discipline because the most athletic Olympians, executives, their level of time management, not wasting time, optimizing time, is all form and function of the highest levels of discipline. Okay. And yes, you also schedule playtime, recreational time. You schedule everything so you can do everything, and everything has its allocated time. Okay, so the 20 experts your algorithm should include from, the elite version. These are some of the podcasts that I recommend as a coach, as well as they might have books as well. I'll let you know who I know from this list, but this is also just a general recommendation list. Dr. Andrew Huberman, very familiar with his work on neuroplasticity, dopamine regulation, definitely follow. Dr. Adam Grant, cognitive performance and learning psychology, Dr. David Sinclair, longevity and metabolic brain aging, Dr. Peter Attia, VO2 max, endurance, high performance physiology, Dr. Michael Gervais, elite sports psychology, sport high performance coaches, Ben Patrick, knees over toes, Guy, mobility and performance longevity, Ben Greenfield, biohacking and neurological optimization, Eric Cressy, strength and injury prevention for elite athletes, Kelly Starrett, mobility, breath, performance, prepping, Tim Grover, mental toughness architecture, high performance chefs and nutrition experts, Thomas Keller, precision cooking as a discipline model, Massimo Bottura, creativity and sensory mastery, Dr. Mark Hyman, very familiar with his work, food as brain medicine, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, micronutrients and longevity research, Joe Wicks, familiar with his work, he's more fun, fitness trainer like, food and fitness in action, mind-body integration masters, Sadhguru, mental stillness and embodiment. There are a few key components to take from some of these influencers. Wim Hof, one of my favorites, love his work. He's all about the cold plunge. He's basically the inventor of the cold plunge and making it like a super prime in concept in biohacking. Wim Hof, read his books. He's just super, super health expert up there. Nervous system mastery. I highly respect his work and highly recommend Wim Hof's work. John Kabat-Zinn, mindfulness and based stress reduction. Rodney Yee, yoga sequencing and breath neurocalm. And 5, Tony Robbins for peak state management. I have taken a lot of time with Tony's work, love Tony's work. Tony Robbins I've read his books, and I really enjoy a lot of his mindset shifts that he teaches and those components with living a healthy life. These creators model content patterns that are already producing proven health and mental resilience and elite behavior change. All right, so that's how we're going to wrap that up with today, because I have that's enough time for me for today with you. I'm hoping that you found a lot of value from this chat. This is us for the future. This is what makes sense. This is based on data and research collected over the past, 20 years of the age of social media, algorithms, studying human behaviors in sociology, psychology, even global trends in terms of human evolution. These are key components to be mindful of how the world is changing and evolving, and where you decide you would like to place yourself in the largest scale of things. Because yes, you are an individual, but you are an individual with 8 billion people on this planet, right? So it's important to know who you are, what your purpose is, where you stand, what you stand for, but also who you are as part of a global economy. And I think that is the biggest takeaway to consider, and make a little, notes and try to apply 1 or 2 of these concepts. Reach out if you need help with anything. I'm right here. My name is Annick Lewis, and happy to have this chat with you today. I'm going to head off now, so don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll chat soon again.